Diving right into it, when you see these sensationalized videos like, oh, like buy the dip or whatever, you gotta think to yourself, what's your long-term strategy?
Is there more pain to come?
Yes, there was more pain to come.
Yeah.
The pain kept coming.
Well,
pain to
start coming and
pain to
stop coming.
And I think that there's reason for investors to consider buying the dip here.
It's wrong.
Is wrong.
Didn't age well. This video did not age well.
Be cautious of what you act upon based on expert opinion.
Damn, so Netflix right now is at 224. Netflix was 366 as they're recording this video.
Nobody's bashing anybody or these financial experts.
I mean, I'm bashing because some of this be aging like milk.
Certain segments of the market have great opportunity.
You know what? Fuck this video. All right, guys, so diving right into it. In a recession, based on the last White House report, right, one thing that happens like in a recession, in a bear market, is that people like usually try to sell off stocks or in some case buy the dip. That's been a continual theme over the past couple months.
Yeah.
My take on it is everybody should have their own strategy. Like you just can't listen to the market hype, and there should be like a long-term game plan. Like if you've been listening to this channel long enough, you know that I'm a huge DCA person. I don't think that you can time the market. If you have a long-term strategy in play, then sure, at some point you can take lump sums of money and invest them or make different bets. But if you're a rookie, nah, you shouldn't be buying a dip. You shouldn't be falling into the market exuberance. That's my take before we watch this video.
There's a lot of just guessing going on. Nobody truly knows, you know. I know you've seen the memes buying the dip, but the dip keeps on dipping, which is why we're huge proponents of DCA, because with dollar cost averaging, if things keep dipping and you keep investing, your money's going down when the market goes down, but it's also going up when the market goes up. It's the people who try to time the market perfectly and put in lump sums of their money at a time and then lose a lot of it because the market just keeps going down, versus the person who DCA'd, they didn't take as big of a loss at the time, but they're not gonna make as big as a gain. But it's a safer way to go, and plus it's a long-term play. The problem I have, and I think you do too, but these type of videos that we're about to watch is they speak as if they are the end all be all, and what ends up happening is people in masses watch them and make investments and moves based on what they're seeing.
Yeah.
This video in particular is about 6 months old, and the dip kept dipping. So buying the dip
didn't
at the time
age
that
well.
they're saying to do
This video did not age well.
A good look.
But with that said, let's dive into it.
Guys, good morning to you both. I mean, we have major averages all down significantly again this morning. The S&P down another 2%. 42.95 is the level there. Jeffrey, I'll start with you. Is there more pain to come?
Yes, there was more pain to come.
Yeah.
The pain kept coming. This was January, so we're reacting to this because nobody ever looks in hindsight like, oh, like what about that whack ass advice?
On their
like, nah. But let's see what they say.
Economic data here for the month of January starting to roll in like the PMIs this morning that are showing that Omicron is having an impact, negative impact on services. We've seen that in the numbers here. We know that in like open table reservation data. We're really seeing services really pull back very sharply. Of course, we know about the potential invasion of Ukraine by Russia and the looming start of a Fed tightening cycle. But I think if investors begin to shift their focus out a little bit, and they may this week and next week, given the earnings releases, they want to look to a brighter Q2. The rebound from Omicron in Europe, given pent-up savings and fiscal stimulus and inventory restocking. I'd note that Russian conflicts in Europe have not led to sustained stock market sell-offs in the past. And I think that there's reason for investors to consider buying the dip here.
It's an estimate, it's a guess. You can try to predict all these things. These are the same people who didn't predict a global pandemic, and look what that did to the market. What happens is so many people gravitate towards these expert opinions. It goes against what we talk about with dollar cost averaging and trying to figure out the smartest ways to do it. You can remove the risk by not buying into this advice too much because you just don't know.
They always leave the context out. So if you understand like how markets work and everything else, and you're a financial expert, then you would have, like if that's me, like I have context like, hey, like typically when inflation goes high, the stock market takes a dip, here's a historical average. It's none of that. So you can forecast or create a narrative on however you want to create it. Charles Schwab said buy the dip. It's not his money.
Right.
He's like, oh yeah, it just looks like things may be good. It might be a good time to buy. It's just like this whole bunch of mites.
I think my whole takeaway up to this point in the video is be cautious of what you act upon based on expert opinion as opposed to deviating from your plan. Because I think some people may act hastily to all this red on the board and his face and all this red.
Yeah,
the markets are down.
The markets are down. I'm gonna invest now.
And like, you know, it could have ended up being detrimental in a lot of these cases.
Well, let's see what they say.
As Mike alluded to earlier, the contagion is spreading pretty wide in this first phase of the sell-off. And I think some areas have been hit harder than others. And, you know, it is a time for stock pickers who are willing to look at company fundamentals to go out and start looking now and putting together your buy list. Certain segments of the market have great opportunity.
She didn't say buy though.
She didn't. She said it could be certain parts of the market which are great opportunities. If you look at the ticker, obviously Tesla down 7%, Lucid, Airbnb, whatever companies you are already looking at might be a good opportunity to jump in there. But she didn't flat out say, go all in on the S&P right now, buy the dip because everything is down.
Damn, so Netflix right now is at 224. Netflix was 366 as they're recording this video.
A clear-cut example,
So
numbers-wise.
you
You can throw
1/3.
everything we talked about out before. This is a clear-cut example, a buying opportunity because stocks are low, just because they were lower than what they were based on the metrics in this video. But obviously the dip kept on dipping, and the dollar cost average person makes out better by only investing whatever they're investing into Netflix, as opposed to buying the dip. Like, let me just throw in a lump sum right here, right now, because they're telling me like this is a good opportunity. You would have lost a lot of money.
So I guess the question is, based on this video, should you have bought Netflix stock?
I mean, definitely not as this
Definitely
one,
not.
but I mean like other ones.
And let's look, right? So we're looking back at January. You look at Tesla, I'll look up Airbnb. Airbnb is, at the time of this video, it was $142.16. And now it's sitting at $110.98. So it lost like 22%. So Tesla was $870, and then now it's $891.45. Based on this video and the fact that they were telling you to buy the dip, the only stock you would have won out on is Tesla. Elon Musk does this scammy thing. He's buying Bitcoin, selling Bitcoin, like showing profits when ain't no profits. Like that guy's a whole nother. But for the most part, if you were exuberant and you took a look at the market and you were like, oh, these stocks are low, and you bought them without understanding things like, oh, we might be in a recession. Oh, inflation might go up. There might be potential war, and that typically does something to stocks, right? Like, and honestly, I don't know what the effect that war has on stocks, but I do know the effect that inflation has on stocks goes down. You would be taking bad advice. When you see these sensationalized videos like, oh, like buy the dip or whatever, you gotta think to yourself, what's your long-term strategy? Like if your strategy, which mine is mostly VT Sachs, yes, I got Baba, Google, like certain stocks that I own. But if you get excited about just listening to people think you can get rich off buying some stocks and there's no long-term strategy behind it, like you're fucked.
There are certain companies that
Right.
buying into them. You just believe in the growth of the company, so it feels good because you're gonna ride the ups and downs. They're long-term plays. So I think a lot of people feel like that about Tesla, Airbnb, Netflix, etc. But what I'm getting at though is the allocation of which you're purchasing and when, and trying to time the market, because these are the people that are watching these, money market shows and money CNBC and articles like this to try to determine like, all right, I was going to buy more anyway, but should I do it now? Should I wait? And these are people trying to time the market. So if you're listening to them, you're like, oh, it might be a great opportunity to buy Lucid or Tesla right now. You go 50-50 on it, and I'm just naming two companies. I mean, yeah, you might have made a small gain on your Tesla, but you lose half your money going in on Lucid based on this advice. So like, nobody's bashing anybody or these financial experts and what they do, but I'm just saying, don't make it your end all be all, because if you do,
I'm bashing because some of this should be aging like milk. People who give financial advice should have to disclose all their stuff, which we are gonna do in our Patreon. We'll go through our personal financial details. But in these videos, like it's almost like I might invest in it, but I don't know. It's like, all right, like how much you got up in this? Like that's what I would be wanting to know.
Yeah, they're not gonna tell you that. So you gotta
what skin you got in the game? The purpose of this video was just to say, hey, like be wary of all this financial advice that you're getting, including ours, right? Because it's biased. You got to come up with your own game plan. Warren Buffett will tell you that too. You know what? F this video. Like, I think we've gone into enough of the details of it. I think you get the basic point, which is if you listen to random experts, you got the chance of getting fucked.
The point that I think we're trying to make here is that this well-produced, perfect market analysis research presented to you in such a beautified way
is wrong.
Is wrong. Right? And it's not what you wanted to do at the time that it was made. And here we are actually holding their feet to the fire 6 months later and saying, hey, you told us this, and this is what the numbers are. That doesn't happen often. Technology allows us to do it and share the information with you. So I think the main takeaway here is have your own strategy, commit to whatever it is going to be, and don't let these type of pundits be your end all be all with your investing, because you can end up in a bad space. Have your own way to decipher the information and make smart decisions.
If you like videos like this, you know what's up. Like, subscribe. Yeah, you know our socials. We see you in the next video.
We ain't hard to find. We outside. New Rules Podcast. Let's get it.